This is Daybreak.
Good morning and happy Halloween. Thanks for waking up with Daybreak. I'm Gina Petici and we have Rob Nucatola here.
Yes.
He's going to give us our pinpoint forecast and the latest on Superstorm Sandy.
We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff throughout the morning today. Let's start with our radar picture. At this point, I'm starting to wish there was something on it for us, but there isn't. We're still clear, we're still dry. Now, if we check our day planner, we'll see today's temperatures a little bit warmer. A lot more to talk up in a little bit.
All right, thanks, Rob. Well, the death toll from Sandy has risen to at least 50 people. The superstorm spread damage and destruction from the Carolinas to Maine. CBS News correspondent Ines Ferre joins us now live from New York.
New York City is trying to regain a sense of normalcy after the storm. The top priority for officials is to restore power and mass transit.
The storm has moved away from the shore, but the devastation left behind is obvious. Homes buried or destroyed, boats tossed ashore.
Yeah, very difficult day.
The National Guard spent the day rescuing stranded residents in Moonachie and Little Ferry, New Jersey. A tidal surge up the Hackensack River pushed 5 feet of water into the two towns in just 45 minutes.
Within a matter of minutes, I think, where the basement got completely flooded. We're just waiting for this rescue.
President Obama will tour the devastation in New Jersey today.
The most important message I have for them is that America's with you.
It could take days or weeks to restore power to the 8 million people who lost electricity.
You gotta stop water. Water goes where it wants to go.
In New York, some subway lines and tunnels are still flooded. Officials say it could be days before the trains are running again.
Signs of life are returning. Not far away from me, the New York Stock Exchange will be back up and running this morning. Traders say it's important to show the world that New York is open for business.
We have a plan for recovery, and that recovery is already beginning.
Flight operations will resume at JFK and Newark airports today, but LaGuardia was badly damaged and will remain closed. For some, the recovery will take months, possibly even years. A fire destroyed more than 80 homes in this Queens neighborhood.
Everything was on fire. Flames were 50 feet up in the air. Whole family lost everything.
But almost unanimously, the people in Breezy Point say they will rebuild.
Another concern, cellular service. It's been spotty in some areas, making it that much more difficult for many. Live in New York, Ines Ferre, now back to you.
All right, thanks, Ines. President Obama's tour of the damage will not include a trip to New York City. Mayor Michael Bloomberg said he turned down the president's request to visit, saying there is too much still going on with the recovery efforts. Meanwhile, the South Georgia and Flint River Red Cross chapters are sending crews north to help the victims of Sandy. They started sending crews on Monday, and they were originally headed to Virginia, but Tuesday afternoon were redirected to North Brunswick, New Jersey. They're driving in emergency response vehicles filled with food and medical supplies.
We have vendors, we have partners who prepare this food. They load it up on the ERV, and our crews take it out and distribute it to the folks in need.
And if you'd like to help, you can donate by texting the word Red Cross to 90999, or you can go to the Red Cross website. Tallahassee's American Red Cross says they have volunteers on standby. An attempted robbery lands a party supply store employee in the hospital. This happened on Monday night at Party City in Tallahassee. Tallahassee police say just before 9:30, an employee was on break when they heard a knock at the back door. The employee, whose identity has not been released, opened the door to find a man in a gray hoodie with a knife. And police say that he stormed in and demanded money, and there was a struggle and the employee was stabbed. The suspect is still on the loose, but we're told the victim will be okay. A man acquitted in the murder of a Tallahassee teen is back behind bars on new charges. Tallahassee police arrested Darnell Utze on Monday morning on drug-related charges. A judge set his bond at $10,500, and he's charged with possession of marijuana with intent to sell. Utze was acquitted earlier this year in a deadly shooting at the Elks Lodge that killed innocent bystander Richard Morel. And court records show that Utze was still out on bond on firearm possession charges. A member of the Georgia National Guard has been found guilty in an internet sex sting. It took a jury a little more than an hour to find Dustin Ellsbury guilty of computer solicitation and traveling to meet a minor for sex. Ellsbury was on a drill in Thomasville in October of 2011. Police say Ellsbury answered an ad on Craigslist and drove the 30 miles to Tallahassee to meet who he thought was a 14-year-old girl. A sentencing date has not yet been set. A caregiver is accused of exploiting an 89-year-old man, and deputies fear that she may have milked him for nearly $100,000. 54-year-old Betty Clark was arrested on Monday. She's accused of exploiting money from an elderly Tallahassee man. Deputies say the man felt he had no choice but to give the woman money for a series of emergencies. The price tag for those emergencies, $16,000 in cash and checks, in addition to a $17,000 car. Clark has been a caregiver for him since 2006. Now deputies are searching through years of bank and financial records. They fear the real losses may be close to $100,000. The papers have been served. The Valdosta-Lowndes County Industrial Authority is moving ahead with a lawsuit against Wiregrass Power. They're suing for land that was once planned for the biomass plant that was later scrapped. The Industrial Authority owns the land and contracted Wiregrass to run the plant. The authority says that the extended lease agreement ran out in June of last year, so that should put ownership of the land back in its hands. A Tuesday morning fire causing $80,000 worth of damage started in a fireplace. Investigators with the Tallahassee Fire Department say a resident of a second-floor home at the Windrush Apartments had his fireplace lit, and they believe the flames escaped the firebox and burned into the attic of the apartment. All 3 stories of that section of the apartment suffered damage. The apartment's residents were able to get out safely. The fire department recommends everyone have their fireplaces checked and cleaned if it hasn't been in use for a while. The Tallahassee Fire Department is also warning everyone to be Halloween fire safe. Most fires occur around the holiday due to the increased use of candles and decorations. So here are a few tips. Make sure costumes are flame resistant or use flame resistant materials such as polyester or nylon if you're making your own costume. Use a flashlight or light stick when trick-or-treating, not a candle, and never leave decorative candles unattended. And for more information and fire safety information, you can visit www.talgov.com/fire. And we all know that Halloween is today and many people are getting ready to party, but law enforcement and AAA want people who drink to be careful and to help keep intoxicated drivers off the road. AAA will be offering a tow-to-go service. It gives confidential rides to drivers who are too drunk to drive in Georgia and in Florida.
We want people to have a good time, but we also want them to be responsible. If they do plan on drinking, they need to have a plan already in place, you know, a ride. As you mentioned, there are some services that they can possibly contact. That we have taxi services here in Valdosta. They can contact those services also.
Coming up next on Daybreak, Rob Nucatola will have another look at our Halloween weather forecast, and later, breakfast is considered the most important meal of the day, but eating a high-fat breakfast could have some damaging effects. We'll have this story and more when we return.